authenticity lives and thrives to create a space of growth, healing, and joy. I am your host, Andrea Lawful Sanders, and each day we will cover the topics that are informative and engaging while learning from each other. Good morning to each and every one of you. As you can see, I'm not at my yard, but I'm still working, right? Because that's what work ethic does, which is why I tell you about us Capricorns. The very few of them fall and bump their heads and don't know have any work ethic or don't know how to work with people. But you can't outwork us. If we're going to the moon, we're taking our computer with us and we're working from the moon because we have things to do. Good morning, Dennis. Good morning, Amina. Happy Friday, darling. It is December 12th, 2025. It's 24 degrees and clear outside. And before Council Member Phillips joins us, good morning, as Dr. Jana. I'm going to do my morning motivation because I wasn't able to do it all this week. And this one was inspired by my traveling yesterday with one of my diva daughters. Child, a time is being had. A time is being had. But I wrote this on February 21st, 2017. Here goes. Because it would not be my life if I didn't have a story to tell. I took a lift into town and was in the back seat reading my latest book when the driver engaged me in a conversation about his wife. He sounded so sad, my head popped up and almost popped off as he shared with candor. Lord have mercy. Seems he had been married for 6 years to a woman who has been married 3 times, and this was his first. He knew she used to be a prostitute, he said, but his love ran above and beyond her past. His problem? She always wants to fight and will pick arguments and then attack like she's a dude. He has had to call the cops to protect himself because he refuses to hit her. He also says she can't hold water and runs her mouth like a sieve, which lands her in trouble with everyone, and he's constantly having to defend her. The kicker, though, she keeps talking about the men she had been with in great detail to her husband, and it crushes him because, in his words, don't no man want to hear about his woman with anyone else. So they are now separated, but he misses her. Sweet black Jesus. I listened, spoke a little bit about her holding on to past hurts and sending it his way. It was such an eye opening conversation because he said women claim they want a nice dude but don't know what to do with him, and he has always had to pick up the pieces from the nuts women date. I grabbed his hand, and as I was exiting the car, I stunned us both with a quick prayer for his burdened mind. He couldn't be more thankful, and I am glad I was all the way into following my gut because I opt to not do random prayers in the streets. Hey, Lord. When we travel, we see a lot of things, and it's some people just are not open to having that kind of conversation with folks when they're out in the streets. But for some reason, I'm a magnet for this, and so I remember this brother. He said, I just there's something about he had gone to one of those strip joints, and there she was, right, and he immediately fell in love with her. He fell in love with a hooker. And he was like, I just couldn't figure out what to do, and I just fell in love with her, and I wanted. So they got married, but she just couldn't. She was so hurt from all her traumas. I think she felt like she didn't deserve to have a decent man, so she kept testing him. I don't know if they're still married because I wrote this in 2017, and he may have gone on and married someone else. But the fact of the matter is, when you are out here in spaces, you just don't know who you're going to be attracted to and why. And sometimes we follow our unction, and other times we don't. There may have been people who said, "I ain't do me pick up a stripper." Y'all got not judged because strippers love, had need love too, right? And sometimes it's hard out here to make a couple of dollars to keep the roof over your head and the electricity on. So, tell me what you think. Who that was a lot. I'm telling Councilmember Phillips that I am ready for him. He'll tag in when he's ready. Morning. How good morning, Andrea. Good morning, Shaquilla. Good morning, Beatrice. You all are here. My goodness. I almost said maybe I shouldn't this morning, but good morning, Tiffany. Morning, David. Sharon, I see all of you. Good morning, Laura. Good morning, Carlene. Lord, you're all on here bright and early this morning. So tell me what you think about this, right? Do you think you would have been able to manage a relationship this way based on the past history of the person that you walk in with? I have said this to all of you time and again. Before you get into anything with anyone, and I said this very publicly and plainly, when I started dating Mr., I had a whole bunch of questions for him. And one of those questions, he said, you know what? This is why I know I'm going to love you. One of the questions I asked him was, have you ever been attracted to or slept with men? He stopped. looked at me and was like, "You are serious?" Yes, I am. I need to know in these Wakandan streets what I am working with. Let me make up my mind about if I want to stay dating you. Oftentimes, when people are dating, you get the representative. You never get who that full person is in that moment. I was so grateful that Mr. was willing to have the dialogue with me. I was sharing things with him I'd never shared with anybody before, and he shared things with me he had never shared with anybody before, and it drew us closer, even though we had been only dating for a week. Now, I am not telling everybody to go out there and do that because, baby, you just have to be mature. And we were mature. We were mature enough to have this conversation. And there was something in my gut that said I could share things with him that I wouldn't have never shared with anybody else. He's not brought those things up. He's not in an argument said, "Oh my God," and that's why so and so made me love him even more. It's very difficult when you're in relationships with people that they bring up the stuff that you told them as a hurt piece. I'm just because. Don't do that. Do not do that. That is one of the worst things you can do in a relationship. Monica says, "Wow, I have heard some outrageous stories, but this is crazy. I'm so sad for him. I pray he found the love he deserved." What y'all need to pray for is that Mova is not attracting the kinds of people that tell her all the business. Because I get that a lot. Donnet said, some questions need to be asked. Margarita said, "Some people see pool dancing and disrobing as art rather than sexual." That's an interesting perspective. Monica says real grown people conversation because we have to have them, right? And oftentimes people tell us, I don't know. This one has a past. You got to see, got to figure out, blah blah. And we go, no, I'll be different. He'll be different with me, even though he or she has had a string of ish a mile long. We decide that we'll be the one that's different. But when folks, you can't change anybody. You can only change you. So be mindful and wary out here. All right, let's see what else is going on. All right, okay. Winnett, good morning, darling. Good morning. Start picking up your cakes next week, please. Monday, as you can see, I'm out of town. Next week it's going to be the same thing. Let me do a little bit of news before he comes on here. Woo. During its final regular meeting of the year, City Council approved funding for the first phase of Mayor Sherelle Parker's $2 billion housing plan, a multifaceted initiative rooted in creating and preserving 30 units of housing. The vote came amid intense pressure from Parker administration, which strongly opposed changes made to the budget measure to prioritize Philadelphia's lowest income households. The amended resolution is the product of a protracted legislative process. It calls for roughly 277 million in funding during the first year of the Housing Opportunities Made Easy or HOME initiative. Those dollars will be spread across dozens of programs to help renters and homeowners keep a roof over their heads. This was written by WHYY.org. Cheese and crackers. This is now national news. President Trump is touting his administration's new gold card visa as a fast track for foreigners who are willing and able to pay $1 million for the right to immigrate to the U.S. Applications for the new visa went live on Wednesday afternoon, so they were serious about this, with the government website for the gold card saying the process can be completed in a matter of weeks after applicants file their paperwork. Mr. Trump unveiled the gold card initiative in February, promoting it as an expedited path for wealthy foreigners to secure legal residency and as a way to generate government revenue. Government revenue. Y'all, President. Don't know what to tell you. The term riffs on the green card, which grants permanent residency status to non citizens so they can live and work in the U.S. indefinitely. So if you have money, you can buy the gold card for $1 million. It just feels like such a shakedown in the White House. Whew. Mm-mm-mm. And this was written by CBSNews.com. Ty Robinson, the 22-year-old man accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk, made his first in-person court appearance on Thursday. Robinson wore a button-down shirt and a tie following a judge's ruling to allow him to wear civilian clothing during pre-trial hearings. Robinson's parents and brother are in the courtroom for Thursday's ongoing hearing, according to defense attorneys. The judge said he is planning to address three issues on Thursday, the first of which is closed to the media. Kirk was shot and killed in the middle of his outdoor event at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah on September 10th. The 31-year-old was the founder of the conservative youth activist organization Turning Point USA, and the Utah Valley event marked the first stop of his The American Comeback Tour, which invited students on college campuses to debate hot button issues. That was written by 6abc.com. Speaking of, the GOP bill seeks to rename the Black Lives Matter Plaza after Charlie Kirk. I swear, they're doing everything they can to razz our berries. I don't know what to tell y'all. I'm not even reading all of that. It's written by Black Entertainment News .com. The Senate on Thursday failed to advance two competing health care proposals aimed at addressing a spike in costs that are expected for tens of millions of Americans who receive Enhanced Affordable Care Act tax credits. Both plans, one put forward by the Democrats and the other championed by Republicans, failed to get the 60 votes needed. Now, lawmakers will only have a matter of days remaining to address the expiration of the enhanced tax credits, and there's little indication that any sort of breakthrough is on the horizon. Whew, this is 6abc.com. Without affirmative action, elite college prioritizing economic diversity in admissions, which is something that if he doesn't get on here in a few seconds, let me see if I can find this, because white men found themselves in a predicament behind this DEI thing, because let me, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Come on. Let me see if I can find it, because Leslie Renee wrote this piece. She says, when you get what you asked for, the title says, Trump's attack on DEI may hurt college men, particularly white. And this is what she wrote. Here in today's We Don't Know DEI helps everyone lesson, we have white boy John Quincy. Okay. Those FAFL moment, F around and find out moment. For years, colleges have been doing something called gender balancing. That's because way more girls apply to college, and on average, they come in with higher grades. Colleges didn't want the classes that were 65 or 70% women, so they quietly admitted more boys to even things out. This is DEI, beloved. That meant some boys, especially white boys, were getting in with lower scores because colleges didn't want such a lopsided gender split. Without gender considerations, women, and especially women of color, would outpace or qualify for admission based strictly on merit at higher rates than white males. Fast forward to now, the new anti DEI interpretations say schools can't consider any part of your identity, not race, not gender, nothing. Everything has to be merit only. And based on pure merit, girls have been outperforming boys for years. So once gender balancing disappears, the group that loses the boost first is white male applicants. This is the part people don't want to talk about. So many folks fought DEI, assuming it was only helping black people first and women second. But the early consequences of removing those policies might fall on the boys who were getting quiet help the entire time. People asked for merit only without realizing who merit actually favors. Y'all wanted it. Now here it is. And it's not doing what you thought. Actions have consequences. This was written by Leslie Morant, who is a lawyer and has been in the DEI space for God knows how long. Brilliant mind who speaks, what she sees, thinks, and believes. Councilmember Phillips is getting ready to come on shortly. But we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion as if it was the most terrible thing on earth, and people are DEI higher, etc., etc. I have had conversations with all of you about the women that have spoken to me when I was doing, and I'm still doing it. Oh, there he is. He just joined us. Let me just get him here. Good morning. It says you have Riverside open in other tabs, Dr. Phillips. Close all the other browser tabs.
Oh, that's why. Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Take it off, please. And then so let's see. And then I should be able to see you on your camera.
It should be gone now.
Okay. Yo, Riverside's kid, it says recording will continue on a new track because you had to change your devices.
Okay. All right.
Did you turn it off in the other space?
Yeah, I'm doing it right
Okay, he went out, so he'll come back. Laura says that was an excellent piece by Leslie. Who knew? Leslie has been out here, debunking all the myths and making people upset. Monica says, really, selling citizenship to the foreign wealthy Epsteins of the world. Just fling open the doors for more undercover, unchecked criminal activities, the things money can buy. Well, there you go. There you go. This is where we are. Good morning, Laverne. Good morning, my darling. Well, this is why I've asked you all to read, to research. Don't just believe everything you see. When you see it, research, right? All right, good. There you go. Good morning,
Okay.
sir.
We're here. Good morning.
Ready?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good
How's it
morning.
going?
Good morning. Good. Let me introduce you to the folks, for those who have never seen you before. I make no assumptions that people know who you are. Dr. Anthony Phillips, Councilman Dr. Anthony Phillips, represents Philadelphia's 9th District, covering Burholme, Crescentville, East Oak Lane, and a litany of other neighborhoods in the city of Philadelphia. We're on most Fridays talking about city politics. And because he's a council member, a sitting council member, we talk about what happened in city council each week. Now, sir, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's talk about the home initiative and why it is such a hot button topic in the city of Philadelphia. Why is the mayor's staff so divided in terms of who should get the money first? What do you think is happening here?
All right. So first, are you hearing an echo or is it just me?
Just you. Did you turn off the other thing?
You know what? I know. All right. So let me just begin by saying, yes, the home initiative in the city of Philadelphia has been something that the administration has made as its number one priority. The goal of the home initiative is to make sure that every citizen of the Philadelphia that is of low income and working class means has access to funds to either restore their home or find a way to get into a new home. So what is transpiring is that there is a large.
Wait, people are saying they hear the echo.
Say again.
People are saying they hear the echo. I don't hear it on my end.
Oh, they do hear the echo.
They do hear the echo.
It says echo. Make sure anyone who isn't wearing headphones also turn this on if you're not wearing headphones. Okay, I'll turn this on.
You have your headphones? Yeah. Okay. Yep, everybody's going echo heard. So, all right, talk again. So let me see. No, I can't hear you now. Can't hear you now.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna come in and come off again. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Go on and come in again.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, darlings. He went out, so he can come back in again. According to what I have been reading and researching about the home initiative, the mayor's people are saying that they want to have any folks that are making $100,000 or more. They want to really work with the middle class, and there are folks who are infuriated. Rue Landau, Jamie Gaudier, and I believe one more who says, this is not right. If we're going to do this for people, we need to look for the people who are housing insecure. We need to find housing for people who have just been unhoused for God knows how long. And this event was touted as creating 30,000 more new housing units to make sure that people are able to get into homes. And if you have been following the shows that I have done, there are these programs where you can get low interest rates loans to repair your homes. It's the basic home repair program. So that's the people who are already in their homes, and you got to give that money back. All right, let's try again.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Still echo. I don't know
all right. Now you guys have to tell me if you still hear an echo because I don't hear it on my end.
Hello.
All right, go ahead, Dr. Phillips.
I'll go. All right. So ultimately, the home plan, the administration is saying that they want it to be for every citizen in the city of Philadelphia. That is for working class as well as low income individuals. What has transpired?
Okay, they're still hearing an echo.
All right,
I'm not sure.
I'm gonna go on my phone. I'm gonna go on my phone.
Okay,
That's all good. Yeah.
call me from on the number that you have.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
All
I'm
right.
gonna do it right now.
All right. Out he goes. Okay. All right. Okay. You all are not playing. You're like, we hear that echo. We're not playing with you. Oh God. Do you hear it now? Still? Tell me quickly. It's still echoing. Some Marguerite says we do hear the echo, but let him continue to talk. We will live. Okay. All right. He's gone. So can you hear the echo now with just myself being on the line? Can you? This is the thing about live radio, right? It's a lot. Come on, y'all, talk to me quickly, quickly. I know there's a 10-15. Do you hear it now? Is what I'm asking you. Okay. Because when I first started the show, no one heard the echo until he came on the air. So I just want to make sure. No. Okay. Thank you, Shaquilla. So it was his device. All right. All right. So I'll just wait for him to call in. And then we can go from there. Yeah. Okay. All right. You don't have the echo, they say. All right. I got it. Let me just make sure. Who Father Abraham has many sons. Let me. No, Dr. Phillips. No, 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 no. I'm calling you. Okay. See? Live radio. This stuff happens all the time. All right, let me just. All right, I'm calling him, y'all. Dr. Phillips?
Yeah.
All right. I'm just going to use the phone so we can talk. Right? Okay. So what is the gap between the administration and yes? Mm-hmm,
Yeah,
and
I'll get right into it. Okay. So ultimately, the fight is the fact that they're the wing of council that wants 90% of the bond, because it's going to be a bond that basically is a grant loan that we had to take out to pay for this $1 billion project when it comes to home. And there's a wing that wants 90% of the funds to go towards low-income individuals. 90% of one particular program called Basic Systems Repair Program, and that is like if you need new roof, you got leaks in your house, other issues. Basically, they want 90% of those bond proceeds to go towards those at 60% or below area median income, better known as AMI. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, for a family of four, you are at $71,000 for like if you're like a one person household, that can be anywhere between $30,000 to $48,000, right? So these are individuals that are actually like really either working poor or just really at a low income stage, but they can't necessarily afford anything. And so there's a wing of council that wanted that. However, the mayor is saying, no, we should prioritize not just low income residents, but we need to prioritize our working class residents. Some of the councils that are also middle class residents that have, incomes above $80,000 and so forth. So, for example, like a family of four, the mayor is suggesting that to be eligible for basic systems repair, you would be at $120,000 or less for a family of four to be able to, take on that particular program. So right now the problem is that a lot of the members of council are saying that's nice, we should do that, but for the first $200 million of borrowing, we shouldn't do that. So for the next maybe $200 million, we can focus on families that are like in the working class bracket. But the mayor is like, no, I want it throughout the entire process. I want it for the first 200, then I want it for the next 200. I don't want it to be any prioritization in that type of way. She did ultimately try to come to a compromise of having 60% of the individuals to, 60% of those who make 60% under AMI, to be prioritized. However, council rejected that as well. I ultimately decided to vote no, only because we do have no to the changes, the 90%, over 60% AMI, because in our district, in the 9th district, which is, Westwood Way, Mount Airy, East Oakland, Alley, Fern Rock, a lot of these people have, they're working, but they're not rich. And to, be able to fix their roof or their bathroom, right, or, stuff like that, kitchen. And, so so there's a gap where there's other districts in the city that actually have a lot more people, unfortunately, that are going through poverty. And so, they want to say, basically, this way, it was like at least 8 people. And then as a result of the 8 people advocated on council, that drew in at least, 4 other members who were like saying they'll just support their interests. But the main 2 individuals that supported it were Jamie Gaudier and Rue Landau on council, and Kenyatta Johnson wanted to be supportive of the members. So the mayor decided that she wanted to, go on a tour, trying to advocate to people to like how this is going to impact them. I just want people to know that, there's going to be a way that working class people are going to get access to these funds. It just may not be in the immediate. So it's not going to be something that they don't ever, access to. So, it's just going to be done differently.
So my question, and then what passed in city council yesterday, if the council members are not in agreement with this? And then my other question, what passed yesterday? Because I got lots of questions.
So what passed yesterday in city council is, first of all, majority of the council members are in agreement with the 90% of the funds going to low-income individuals for basic assistance home repair. Okay. So what passed yesterday was the ordinance to allow for a bond to be taken out as a result to basically pay for the home program. Okay. So now the home program can actually happen now that the council agreed that 90% of the funds for basic system home repair will go to those who make 60% under the AMI.
Okay, so now I get it. Okay, so you vetoed the mayor by telling her she can't. So okay.
So I tried. Yeah. So I voted no on. I'm for the home program, but I wasn't necessarily for the 90% over 60 for 60% and under AMI. Okay. And so it just didn't work, right? And I think for me, a lot of our families were, very, very concerned about it. If some of our neighbors are if you make like $45,000 a year, we have neighbors like that. Yeah, they would be eligible, right? But if you're like a one-person household and you're at like above $70,000, or even if you're above $50,000, you're not going to be prioritized. You can apply, but only you're not going to be a priority. For the program. Basically, you're going to be what the new ordinance says is that the low income people are going to go first, and then you would go.
If there's anything left behind.
If there's any days left. Yes.
My question then becomes: even though this is what council voted for, how do you measure that? How do you measure it to say this amount of people are getting this, that amount of people are getting that?
That's true. That's true. And so that we spoke about that with the administration, because that's their responsibility. They have to manage not only the high demand that for repairs that are going to come for this, but they also have to manage like how to make sure that there are individuals in the system. They're like saying, okay, we're at our cap. You know what I mean? Like, so ultimately they're going to have to figure out a system where they know.
And council, and let me say this, council has to put some sort of watchdog in place to make sure that these things are being followed appropriately. Because, you can say anything you want to say, you can pass whatever you want to pass. But unless someone is making accountable what's happening there, anything can take place. Right?
That's very true. That's very, 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 very.
So as you're creating these policies and passing these laws, we've got to figure out another way. So the mayor is now doing her tour and the different churches, etc., to tell people what it is for. Now, let me say this, and I have to say this. Philadelphia is a very old city. The houses are older than dirt. It is incredibly expensive for people who are making $120,000, $130,000 a year to repair their homes and then do this. So people look at the number, but they don't realize, based on what's going on and what we have to pay for rent, mortgage, all the other things, what that looks like. To fix a kitchen, I want you all to hear me, is nothing less than $30,000, and that's on the low end. Right? Because of the cost of materials, and this was before the tariffs even took place, because of the cost of materials, etc. Now to fix a kitchen, to redo a kitchen from a very old home, it's $60,000, $70,000, $80,000.
Yeah, there you go.
So then my question becomes, why couldn't you all have found a compromise for the ones who are really low income plus the ones who are middle of the road?
And so let me say that there were options for compromise, very much. However, it was an all or nothing. And the mayor has said this herself. It was basically an all or nothing for the administration. Now, she did say at the very last minute that they would do 60%, just because they knew they weren't going to get the votes. They would do 60% of prioritization for those who make 60% under the area median income. However, by that time, council was like, no, we that's still not necessarily what they wanted. The majority of council was like, they wanted, okay, we could do 70, 75. They said no. Administration said, we're not going to do 75% for prioritization.
So you're at odds with the mayor right now.
We're very much so. And I think it was really, that compromise came because they ultimately realized they weren't going to win the battle of open it, basically the original plan, basically opening it up to individuals that would be close to the 100% of AMI, so area median income. And so they gave that up and said 60%. And then by that time, the majority of council members were like, no, we got the leverage now. We're not going to change our mind now that you realize that you don't have the votes.
Wow.
So, and it just became... And it just ended up being what I think, had they decided to try to compromise in the very, very beginning, we would have been able to get everything at once.
Yeah.
Now, what's going to end up happening is there's going to be an eventual change that's going to include working class individuals. Like, for example, right now, like a school teacher who makes $55,000 and she's a one-person household, wants to fix up the house, and not eligible for the program, right?
And not only that, is this free money, quote unquote, or isn't there a low interest rate loan that comes along with it too?
Yep. So some of the money is grant, and then some of it is low interest rate loans. So I'll tell you. Let me see if I can pull up the ones right now. Which is the the grant.
Yeah. Monica Adams says, this is putting me back into a mortgage. No, thank you. I'll keep my old kitchen and just do some updates. Yep. That's a lot. That's what a lot of people are saying, right? Tiffany says, if you are rich and you can pay for it, you are below for it. That's wonderful. If you're below poverty, you qualify for programs. It's the middle class left to figure out how to pay for it. It's so expensive. Laverne said Laverne says, Laverne says, in 2017, my kitchen was $15,000. Try that right now, Laverne. Not,
You know what it is right now? Even right now, the program eligibility for basic systems home repair, and just so folks are really aware of, basic systems home repair provides free repairs to correct plumbing, heating, correct electrical systems, right? Free grant repairs. Mm-hmm. So you can, like, let me see what else might be. Roofing, right? Wow. So you have, like, for right now, if you are one household, to be eligible, one person, nobody else in the rest of the house can make more than this. One person, $50,000. What the mayor was trying to do is bring that up to, for one person, closer to like $70,000. Mm-hmm. Because she's like, she's like, come on, like, we've got to help, you know, people trying to make ends meet.
Yeah, and so that part I understand. That part I absolutely understood. So that's why I was asking, why couldn't you all come to a compromise, right?
And I think, and also here's what it is. I didn't know exactly what it was in terms of the compromise. The mayor wanted everything. She wanted her way at that moment, right? And it was all the way down to the wire. When she tried to compromise towards the end, the members are like, no. Because here's what happened. I think this time around, members wanted to say, you have always gotten everything that you wanted, even if we didn't necessarily want it. So this time around, we have to finally take a stand and say, no, we're going to get all of that we want. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And I think it was more of a principle thing, right? As opposed to more of a, like, yeah, you're going to eventually get some of the things you want, but you're not going to get everything you want right now. Right. And I think it was done out of, of course. Yeah,
but here's what I'm saying. I get it, but people's lives are in the balance here. There are folks' houses falling down around them. So it feels like a huge pissing contest, right? At the behest of the people that live in this city. There has to be some sort of compromise. And I also get it because there are folks in city council who are pissed off that the mayor and her team, not just mayor, her team, always get what they want and they feel like they're being bullied. I get all of that, but I need you all to balance that out with what the people of this city absolutely needs. Monica says, bottom line, we need checks and balances, auditors to watch and report how this money is really distributed. Report. Andrea said something that made perfect sense to me. She says, what types of basic home repairs are even eligible for the funds we're talking about when you finally get the money? What repairs? So he did say roofing, electrical wiring, plumbing, right? And what are you allowed to do with it? So that question was answered. She also made another comment, and let me see if I can find it. She said, you all really need to work on messaging how this really will work for people, right? Because it's confusing. Even as we try to explain it, it's confusing.
I agree. It's very confusing. I get it. And we said that, and we told people that, like, the messaging could be confusing because people really don't understand how AMI works, right? They don't even know what area median income works. But they also kind of want examples of, like, oh, what can I get fixed for my house? Like, when they hear, right, they say electrical, plumbing, okay, what type of electrical? That means I can get new lights, but it's really, I mean, yes, you could, technically. But I think the examples, need to be there. You're actually right. And I think the messaging, I'm going to talk to them about that as well.
Yeah.
I agree.
Dennis says, first things first, raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. How about that? The mayor is trying to make up for the other mess she created last meeting, the DEI. What's going on with that?
Well, I will tell you that. I will tell you this.
You were so funny. You were like,
So we can't do the minimum wage thing on city council, unfortunately.
That's at the state level, right?
At the state level. And to be honest with you, that needs to happen, and I'm really over that conversation. But to be honest with you, the only way that they're going to take it seriously is if 1.5 million of us start voting in the city of Philadelphia or close to that. Because if we keep our numbers the way we are, the Republicans on the other side of the state are never going to take us seriously. They would take us seriously only if we voted. Yeah. But anyway, city council next year, they're going to examine Parker's decision, basically the mayor's decision to end the long-standing policy of like prioritizing women and minority-owned businesses in city contracting. So there's going to be a resolution that is going to be in the committee of the whole. Council president, sponsored this. All 17 members are going to look at the history of like minority contracting policies in the city and basically understand like what was the rationale historically for it, and then talk about like we want to get answers on how, like, now that we have this small local policy, what is it going to accomplish? Like, what are the goals, and how we're still going to make sure that we uphold the original intent of what was trying to be done years ago to make sure that minority contractors are being hired. I agree. I think it is a problem that in the city of Philadelphia, where we do have a lot of Black and brown residents have faced roadblocks to getting city contracts.
Do you know what is being said about the city of Philadelphia by leaders in other cities, Atlanta, Chicago, etc.? What they're saying is, and this is before all of this started happening, that in Philadelphia, they only take 10%, even though there are more people that are doing the work, there's small businesses everywhere. Folks like me have to work outside of this city in order to make money, right? There are a lot of entrepreneurs that will not do business in this city because of the processes and how long it takes to get paid. Sometimes folks have to wait 6 months before they see their check after putting them through all of that, right? And they say they don't understand in this city why it has been this way forever and a day. And folks have been fighting tooth and nail to figure out why it has not gone above 10%. So understood that that's through many mayors, not just the mayor of the current mayor of Philadelphia, but something has to be done. Something has to be done. How do we navigate that?
Here's what I'm going to suggest. I suggest that they just. I suggest that they do what they were originally doing, and basically come up, just be out front. Yeah, we decided, basically fix what they already said they're going to do.
But do you know who the gatekeepers are that has created it? That so many Black minority-owned businesses have not been able to succeed in the city, though. They're there,
and that's part of the issue, right? So what the administration needs to be more concerned about, right, is why during the 2 years before this is going on, right, that we weren't hitting our numbers, right? And so now that you have this issue, right, how do you expect us to hit our numbers still in terms of like, basically, I think it was supposed to be around 30% of the contracts.
Right, but it has never been, Councilmember Phillips, it has never gotten to 30%.
And why is that?
So that's the question. That is the question. So the food of thought and all the research and the data has been, he who has the most money to donate gets to say what happens in this city.
And let me tell you, and I love how you said that, because here's the reality. I don't necessarily like that. I think, but the other reality is that, oh no, they'll tell you there's actually like a procurement process and it's bids, but
which is prohibitive in so many ways.
They really look at the contracts, so they pick the best one. Sometimes, and to be honest with you, the best one, they always say it's the lowest amount, but at some point, you going with the lowest amount, as a contractor, you're like, this is not even worth it. I'm basically just.
And be honest. Let's be honest about this. There is this expectation that minority businesses should take the lowest contract bid, should give the lowest contract bid. No one takes into consideration the amount of work that is required to do what is being done. They look at us and say, "You're charging too much." Meanwhile, somebody else, Joe Blow Schmo, is getting $1 million, contracts because they're Joe Blow Schmo. We have to do all this digging and dancing to just get the basic right to work so that we can pay the people that are working for us and maybe probably make $20 an hour ourselves. It's horrible how they navigate this. And oftentimes this comes at the face. The people that are doing that look like us. They're in these spaces where they have to hire. Well, why is she asking for so much? Why are they asking for so much? But when you go and you do your research, that is the minimum amount for the amount of work that you're doing. But anybody else, you're automatically given to it. So we have to stop acting like white ice is colder. And that black folks aren't busting their behinds doing what they're supposed to do, which is why this process, when it was taken away, began to hurt so many people, right? Because immediately they were told, we no longer require your services because we don't have to work with you anymore. I had a sister, listen to this. I had a sister called me over the summer. She's like, oh my God, this major organization called me. They had this contract that they want to get from the school district. The only thing is we're not a minority owned business. And we want to give you the minority, bring you in and pay you X amount of dollars. Let's say $9,000, but no, I'm sorry. The contract was $40,000. She was so excited, right? But the contract itself is over $1 million. So they brought her in to say that they're a minority-owned business, and then told her she would have to borrow the money to pay her people until the money comes in. Do you hear what I'm saying to you?
Wow.
So we're being conscripted in ways we cannot even. And folks like me is like, hell to the no. Thank you, but I'm not playing. And when I've explained to her what was getting ready to happen, and she did her own digging, she says, why can't I get some of the money up front to start? They were like, no, we're not doing that. So there are a ton of businesses that are doing that, and they're using black-owned businesses to say, we'll bring you on and give them less than 1% of what the grant money is worth. Yep. We have work to do. We cannot keep naming streets and having resolutions when there's so much happening to the people in this city. That's damaging in ways you can't even begin to imagine.
No, you're absolutely right. I think that for me, I'm 1,000% honest with you. I was, in terms of priorities for our district, I wasn't hearing much about minority contracts, right, and issues. So for me, this whole issue wasn't something that I put a lot of attention to. But I will tell you, it is on my mind now. But I will say, this is what, if you're an at-large member, these are the type of things that you really should dig into, because a lot of district council members have to focus a lot on, district things. But I think if we find a way to talk to each other in terms of our body and say, this time around, I want you guys, you're going to focus, you two are going to focus on this part of the city.
Right.
I'm going to focus on this. We can divide and conquer and achieve some of these goals. So I think you're challenging, myself to think of strategic ways so that
I'm challenging you every single week, because
you are.
It has to be done. Someone wrote a task force led by councilperson Catherine Gilmore Richardson. It had to be her. Revamp the city contract payment system for vendors to receive payment more promptly. You would not believe how much debt contractors go into, waiting to be paid by the city. It's unconscionable.
Wow. That's
right?
True. They talk about that because people, the process to get paid is ridiculous. They are waiting to get paid because they have to fill out this form, that form, and then after they fill out all those forms, it have to be reviewed, and then by the time it's reviewed, you're like, it's been about over 4 to 8 weeks now, right? And then they'll say that you forgot something.
Oh my God.
And then you got to wait even more time.
And then when you finally get the contract and you start the work, they want you to work with no money in hand.
Yes.
So how do you pay the people?
No money in hand.
You put people behind the 8 ball every single time. So make me understand that.
And so for me, to be honest with you, the process should be shorter. And the thing is, if you don't do the work, you just get sued. They're over here, what they're doing sometimes, they go through this reimbursement process as well. In some ways, like, do the work and then we'll, get it to you. Or, I'm like, no, that shouldn't never be the case. It's like, you got me,
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Someone says, I'm currently fixing up my childhood home I can see my girl in the window. So currently fixing up my childhood home, and I had to get a water heater. That's it's $10,000 all by itself. I'm telling you. Right by the time and something, it's just a lot. I remember when Mr. and I got married, and I began putting somewhere because the houses are $80,000 put into that house, and we still have a ton of work to do. Do you hear what I'm saying? And I remember saying this to now Mayor Parker when she was the council member. I said the houses are aging, and people just cannot afford. Like, we're working just to do the basic stuff. We had to redo the entire plumbing system. Craziness.
And let me tell you, if you could get a grant, right? That's what's hard as well. Mm-hmm. A lot of the other parts of the city, North Philadelphia, West mm-hmm. Philadelphia, South Philadelphia, they're receiving, some of them are receiving new development, right? Mm-hmm. But there are still a lot of old aging stock houses in like Northeast and Northwest.
This entire system.
No one's coming over there fixing up, taking the work. So all of our houses don't look brand new.
Right. And then the contractors are coming in and saying, well, we'd like to offer you this for your house. They understand the value of where we live, but they also understand that we're bottlenecked in not to being able to fix it and repair it the way we need to, because we just don't have that extra money. $50,000 a year is not a whole lot of money to make. By the time you pay the basic bills, you're done.
Nope, it's not. It's not. At this point, there is a question about six figures, right? Being enough now.
It's
six
not.
Figures used to be like, oh my gosh, I could do anything, right?
If you are not making $287,000 a year, and $287,000 is middle income, you are not even considered above grade. Wow. Let's talk about it, right? Because everything is so expensive.
Everything. If you just wanted to say, hey, this year I just want to take my family out for a trip, right? As a middle-income person, that's still a big deal.
It is.
So imagine if you can't do that, for if people who are working class low income, that's even harder, right? Make 80,000. Mm-hmm. So we get it. And so for me, and I don't know what has transpired, Andrea, in terms of pricing from the federal government. Like, I'm just like, why is everything food? I can't eat. I don't do takeout. I try my best.
Let me tell you something.
Even the grocery expensive.
So your income is over $100,000 a year, and you're talking about how groceries are expensive. People are struggling out here. They're struggling. Mm-hmm. They can't figure out how they're trying to make ends meet. Medicines have gone up. My husband was told he needed to take a particular medicine. They said the medicine started at $1,000. He looked at them and cracked up laughing. He's like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. He said, they're trying to kill us out here.
Health insurance premiums.
Come on.
People are making choices over their health.
Right? Yes.
Especially if their jobs don't have health insurance, right? They're making choices over whether or not I'm going to have, pay into health insurance or just wait a couple more months, until I could afford it. That's the craziness. The basic stuff like even paying for life insurance.
Or, please, life insurance is a luxury right now because people who are working for major companies are paying more and more for their health insurance premiums. It's not unheard of that a family of 4 or 5 are paying $1,500 from their employers to go to have health insurance. The employers used to cover that. They say no more. They cannot find this. Tiffany says, hell, a bag of chips at 30th Street Station was $8.99. A bottle of milk for me to drink was $8.88. Wasn't even a half a gallon. Everything is so expensive. And then the food is killing us. So what I love for City Council to do is start here. Take a look at the antiquated systems that you have running through that place. Nothing is talking to anything else, and people are just doing whatever they want to do. And then when you marry those systems, do the training so that people can get folks together, because folks are paying their property taxes and then being told they're not paying their property taxes and overpaying, all sorts of things are going on. And then some of the employees are so damn rude. People are so frustrated. We pay for the basic home repairs that's to the water department, and something happens with your plumbing. You call them, we're not coming out today. Wait, but I've been paying you. You tell us that this is what is covered. I've been paying you X amount of money every month, and this is what's happening. Everything needs to shift and change, and we surely, truly need to stop talking about is this one's fault and it was happening before such and such came into office. if you all are holding the superintendent of every time of the Philadelphia school, if you hold them accountable when they come, and then everybody who steps into leadership, I don't care if Boo Boo the clown wasn't doing it before. Everybody needs to be held accountable for what they're doing now as they're in leadership. Come on.
Wow.
Come on.
So I just also want to let you know that there was something else that was passed, a long-standing issue in the city of Philadelphia, deed fraud, which is a persistent problem in our city. The city records that basically it was like 100 reports of deed fraud in 2023, 110 reports in 2024. So there was a loophole that allowed for those like individuals that actually stole the home to actually claim transfer. They could request a refund of real estate transfer taxes, even if they committed a crime. So now, those who are victims of deed fraud, we passed a bill that allows people to get, if they have to fight to get their homes back, the money that they spend at lawyers, whatever, attorney fees, they can request a refund for the city for the cost of losing their home. So, meaning that we'll pay.
I was talking to somebody about that yesterday. I was being interviewed yesterday, and the sister I was like, I didn't even know that was going on. What the hell?
Right. So yeah, you lose your home, and then you got to pay for the fees to get the home back. Now, if you now you can get that money back, whatever you paid for to get your home back because of deed fraud. The city is going to pay you a refund back for the expenses you incurred from doing all that.
Okay, and how does the average citizen know this?
Right, and there you go. So,
is there some sort of messaging?
This goes back to the home initiative thing you just said. The average citizen, the promotion of this has to be done very, very well, because this is kind of part of home as well, right? And so, yeah, I unless we put it out in these emails, but the average citizen is not paying an email. This is why I think, and I told our council that we need to do this, like. That's why I think we should spend more money on newsletters that go out with all this information.
Messaging. It's newsletters. It's on social media. All the things. Figure out all the ways that you can, and hire somebody competent to do this ish. Can we do that?
No, I agree. I couldn't agree more. And then I also want to tell you that we passed a bill that's going to basically allow for the Greyhound bus station to reopen. Back, over at Filbert. So, people were
after all of that shenanigans, after people being out in the cold, in the heat, the bus stations moved 100 times. No one thought about the people until now. I mean, and I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. You said I could hold you accountable, right? So I'm asking all the hard questions because a lot of this makes no sense for the people of the city. They're the ones at the lowest end of the totem pole trying to fight and figure out how they're going to make it. And you ever go outside and walk around the city or drive around the city and look in the faces of the people that are they look tired.
Tired. No, you're right. No, you're right. I mean, and that's the accountability because here's the reality. We had this Greyhound thing shut down, I think before I got there, and we recently had this conversation about why are people standing outside in cold and no shelter, and they can't figure out where the bus station
no place to go to the bathroom, nothing to drink or eat, right?
Right. We did that earlier this year, and then within a year we had it open. I mean, the process of being opened again. It's frustrating that sometimes decisions are made, and we have to fix it. People do feel like I know a lot of folks outside are like, what are we doing? And it's like the bureaucratic systems are just awful. I mean, I give you an example. I mean, I've had the law department in the city fight me tooth and nail about what I can do and what I can't do about trying to shut down these tobacco stores that are popping up in our neighborhoods, right? And it's like the problem is that you don't have enough. There's not enough innovative souls in and fighters in these departments who really care. I literally have for example, today I'm forcing the law department. They did not even want to come. I mean, I had to go tooth and nail about this, to come to a site with me that they don't want to litigate over, because basically there's this property next to a church that it's kind of a nuisance because it's been vacant. No one's taking care of it. They have to clean it up all the time. The owner has accumulated over like $50,000 or some $20,000 worth of violations. Hasn't paid it, right? Yet the law department is not finding a way to, make sure to go after this individual so they can pay the either to lose the property or pay the violation. So as a result, this one church keeps cleaning up this area. They want to use it for community benefit. And they're like, well, there's only so much you can do because they haven't reached the threshold of violations that basically,
Lord.
That puts us in a position where we go out and actually do litigation on this. I'm like, I said, I need y'all to come see this. And no, we don't need to see it. We know what it is. I said, no, I need you to understand. Like you just said, look people in the eye, the faces. I think y'all looking at this very much so from a very academic, theoretical. Sometimes you gotta. The policy may say this, but you need to figure out how to make the policy work for the people.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the problem. Is there's no level of urgency because they're just going off of what here's what they're not thinking outside the box. And now I gotta force.
So now you're a sitting council member fighting with folks. Imagine what the regular folks have to deal with. Right? Who don't have that kind of power. It's just somebody says Tiffany says they care more about events and bringing tourism to the city more than taking care of their residents, and it shows, right? And it shows. It absolutely shows. So I don't know. Someone wrote, and I'm looking for it now because they're writing tooth and here, and I'm looking for it. Jesus. There's so much going on here. Wait. I think I just saw it. Hold on. Someone named Presley talked about a trades program that's absolutely free. And how do we get more young people into those programs, right? She says, they're talking so much, it keeps ripping my thing down. David says, what about creating a law to prevent squatters from being evicted immediately? There's that. Washington, D.C. just had a case about it. That's happening a lot, too. People can't get squatters out of their homes. Craziness. There's a lot of work to be done, truthfully. But we'll get there. All right, Dr. Phillips, I've got to go because I've had one more thing. It seems that City Council passed a thing that says all the members that if they're running for office, they can stay in office and run for another office. Tell me about that, please.
So, Councilmember Isaiah Thomas proposed this ballot question that would be on an A ballot to bring up to the residents whether or not city council members can resign their office and to run for either a state office or federal office. So state offices could include, becoming the city's, treasurer, the state treasurer, the state lieutenant governor, rep, senator, whatever they might be, any state office. Federal offices could be Congress, senator, any elected office. They don't have to lose their seat in order to run. And now the theory behind Councilman Thomas's idea is that a lot of times people who in the state office, in the federal office, they don't have to resign to run for other offices, in the either state or local, right? But only city officials have to do that. And the theory was that back in the day, there was this fear that city officials would run for state positions or federal positions. So they made it hard for people. There was a bill cut that basically that would say that, y'all would have to resign y'all seat to run. And I forget, something was in exchange for that because there was a word that local officials have an advantage to take over other state or federal office positions, so they need a partner. So that's what the theory is.
Okay, all right. So I hear the theory, and so I have two questions. One, how are you running for office and working in the position? Something has to give, right? In terms of, how effective would you be? Because running for another position takes a lot of time, effort, and money. How do you juxtapose the two, right? And many of the city council members that are sitting there right now were able to get their seats because someone had to quit to run for mayor. There were several people who quit to run for mayor, right? And so what that ended up doing was creating spaces for fresh new voices to come into city council.
That's very true.
You're going to remove that? You see what I'm saying? Because otherwise, we stay in these offices until Jesus says, "Come down, my child. I'm taking you home to glory." We don't know when to stop. Some kind of parameters has to be in place that says after you've run a certain amount of times, it's time for you to move on and do something else.
I listen, I could not, and I think this one's going to come from the people, because I'm for one, like, after a while, there's no need for you to do this for years.
So then what parameters are you going to put in place that says, okay, we can do this, but we can only run for a certain amount of time before we have to move on? You can't just unilaterally put something before the home rule charter that gives you carte blanche to just keep running and running and running while holding on to your seat. If they don't do that, that is not going to pass. The people in the city will not accept it.
That's true. I think you're right. I think that you're right on the fact that, if you want to run for another office, I mean, it gives, and you resign, it gives someone else an opportunity. It gives someone else an opportunity to run.
You wouldn't have been in this space.
I wouldn't have been in this space.
Sherelle Parker didn't. Okay.
Yes.
I want y'all to think that through. I'm telling you. And so there are people who are absolutely qualified, want an opportunity with fresh new ideas for the city, but they can't now. If this passes, and thank God you have to put it before the people, because if it was up to city council alone, this would be a brand new law, right?
Right.
So what when you put this home rule charter together and you put it before the people at the primaries, is it going to say something like, and because we're trying to do this, we're also saying there's term limits. You can only run for 3 terms or 4 terms of city council before you got to find something else to do. You can't just have your cake and eat it too. And that's what it sounds like city council is trying to do right now.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, I'm not necessarily opposed to the limits. Because I'm just not. I've just not never been. Because I think there's energy. You want to give it. You gotta have energy.
There would be no rule and down. There would be no. Come on.
Yes, the list would go on. So I'm not necessarily opposed to that. I think the problem is that there's currently no appetite for that, right?
Yeah.
Or council. So
and they've tried three times before and it failed. So let's see what happens. Andrea says, and this will also come down to messaging, so the voters know what their yes means in May. Don't worry about that part. I always read those things and say to people, you get to decide, and tell them exactly what it means. David says city council members need to resign if they want to run for another office. State and federal elected officials don't have the responsibilities that city council members have. I don't know.
Okay.
Child,
that's an interesting perspective.
And on that,
he's right. He's actually right. They don't really have to. I mean, yeah, they don't have to deal with people-centered issues in the way that we do. I got a text message the other day about someone's, house. They can't get a permit to do work on their house, right? A congressman does not get that type of, request.
Right. You're dealing with everyday lives of people that they're supposed to be serving. So again, the question is asked, how are you running for another office and staying in your seat at city council? I'm just asking on behalf of the people, right? Just common sense questions. Sir, I gotta go because, life. But thank you so much. Always a pleasure talking to you. All right. Bye-bye. All right, bye-bye. Child, more questions than answers. I don't know. It's a lot going on, but I got to get off the air because I've got stuff to do and I got to skid it out on my way back into town for a wedding this evening. Pray Mother's strength. This episode of Mornings with Mother is officially over. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders.